but maybe explain what the situation was, what kind of your hesitations were, and then how we worked through it.
So I, again, was working in hospitality, living in Charleston, South Carolina. I'd been searching for some jobs after graduating and I wasn't having much luck. Got an opportunity to move with a couple buddies up to New York City. I was super hesitant. Had never really gone on my own that far. And it was honestly a little daunting, a little scary to think about. And I kind of just went to Cole and he told me a couple things, two of the things that stick out to me the most. The first one was, I can't promise if you're going to love it. Can't promise if you're even going to, but I can promise you're going to regret it if you don't do it. And also, you better have a damn good reason to not do it.
Yeah.
Push me.
What's up, my man? How you doing?
Pretty good. How are you?
I'm great to get you on this. Obviously pumped that you went through the program. Obviously just want to talk through that. And so I think to start, if you could tell everyone kind of what position that you were in, what you were feeling, and what led you to reach out because you're interested in joining the program.
Yeah, definitely. So graduated college in May, was working in hospitality and it was kind of just I've always wanted more. And I would see you on Instagram, social medias. And honestly, without even knowing you, I kind of looked up to you in a way because I thought you were killing it.
I'm honored.
So I was like, whatever he's doing, I need to do. So I just reached out on a whim and I was just lost. And I just wanted a little bit of direction. I don't have an older brother. I got a younger sister. So I was looking for that big brother mentality.
I love it. I only have an older sister, but honestly, that was a lot of what I wanted to do. I remember when I was lost and in the same shoes, I had to learn all this on my own. And I wanted to create this to be a resource that kind of I wish I had when I was going through it. And I think one thing that's important too is okay, so you were feeling lost as it related to your career and stuff, but then how was that also just impacting other elements of your life in terms of day-to-day happiness?
Yeah, so definitely lost in my career. Like I said, I was working hospitality, which was great. I felt like I learned a ton of great skills. I've always wanted to do other things. And when I was working in hospitality, it was great. I was meeting people, learning communication skills and whatnot. But I knew it wasn't the path for me in the end. So I felt like when I was not on the path that I wanted to, it was affecting other facets of my life. I was always happy, of course, but I just internally was I know I can do more. I know I want more. So I decided I got to do more.
That's the best, I guess, to start. Did you have any hesitations or doubts before joining?
Definitely had some doubts. Not any with Cole, but
internet.
Yeah. Trusting a random guy off the internet for sure was one of them. But I feel like the only success that comes is with risk and with trial and error. I knew nothing was going to change if I didn't try and make a change myself. So buckled in and tried it out.
I love it. Once you got into the program, once you took the leap, once we started working together, talk about your experience during the program. What did you think the most valuable part or parts of the program were for you?
So definitely the weekly calls that we would have. I felt like I learned
a lot there.
We learned a lot there.
Cool.
I would go to Cole and be like, what should I do here? What should I do there? And I really always wanted to do more. Cole actually convinced me to make a huge change in my life, which I'll be forever grateful for because reading the course and reading the documents that came with the course. And
I love that. So let's come back to the big aha moment, the big risk that you took. Just kind of talk through because the way it's set up is there's a lot of self-reading and self-work to complement all the calls that then prepare you for that big decision that you ultimately made, right? And it was only because we did all the work leading up to it where you really started to become the best version of yourself. A lot of things that we talked about, you notice yourself getting a lot more confident, enjoying a lot more of life, putting yourself out there more so and really changing who you were, that once that big opportunity came, you're ready to make that because you're in the right state of mind as opposed to had it just come. Maybe talk about how you just first laid the groundwork, doing all the self-work and kind of all the readings and how that started to feel like things were clicking for you.
Did a lot of self-reading. There's a lot provided, so it's definitely a great source of information. I felt like ones that stuck out to me the most was it was a create your own player.
Yeah,
we've all created ourselves in
think of it's a video game where you get to customize your own character and you get to design what they look like. So go on.
You always make yourself the best. You know what I mean? You would have Tom Brady's IQ, Lamar Jackson scramble.
Yep.
So it's you're basically you reroute your brain into thinking what would the best version of myself be doing and how would they live their life and what would they be doing? So I think that was probably one of the most impactful full self-reading and self-discovery points on the journey.
I love it. I love it. And then, okay, so let's talk about the big moment, because this was like a really fun thing to talk about. And it really, like, I know
Yeah.
we were having a lot more like intimate conversations than even you were like having with your friends and family, because it's like at the time, it's like I'm just like this open source to talk to you about. But maybe explain what the situation was, what kind of your hesitations were, and then how we worked through it.
So I, again, was working in hospitality, living in Charleston, South Carolina. I'd been searching for some jobs after graduating and I wasn't having much luck. Got an opportunity to move with a couple buddies up to New York City. I was super hesitant. I, had never really like gone on my own that far. And it was honestly a little daunting, a little scary to think about. And I kind of just went to Cole and he told me a couple things, like two of the things that stick out to me the most. The first one was, I can't promise if you're going to love it. Can't promise if you're even going to like it, but I can promise you're going to regret it if you don't do it. And also, you better have a damn good reason to not do it.
Yeah.
It's ultimately pushed me.
Yeah, I love it. And those are two super important things. Like any risky thing is always going to be risky. But I remember when you were talking about New York and we were like really excited about the potentials. It seemed like such a good setup. You're a young guy. New York was a new fresh beginning that really interested you. You were really excited and you had a perfect living situation. And that's something I think a lot about is like, you better have a really good reason not to try it. And again, like I think about it all the time, even for me, like I have no idea if what I'm going to do is be successful or not, but there's only one way to know, and you'll always regret just not even trying anything. And so like it's awesome to see that you're in New York and you're killing it now. And I think like I know you're still trying to unpack things that you want to do with your job, but it's amazing because everything's compartmentalized. While you're still working on all the things that you want to do on your next jobs, your life is going, and I think you're becoming the person that you want to become. And I can tell from just like how we interact and like how excited you are and all of our day to day. One thing that I think would be interesting is now, given where you're at, how do you feel about your life, yourself, and your prospects for the future from like where you were before we started working together to where you're at now?
Definitely think I'm further along the path that I want to be on. I think it's also opened my eyes to noticing more opportunity as well, knowing that I can take a risk and pay off. Definitely gives you the confidence in the future to be willing to take another risk. So definitely think everything's helped out. Looking forward to making the next big change in my life too.
Yeah, right. It kind of becomes like addicting. Like you always just keep doing the work. And then like what we were just talking about is as you get ready for these next challenges, like with muscles and stuff, like you have to do more work. You have to push them to keep getting stronger. Everyone's very hesitant to take this initial leap. But then once you take that leap, you realize that it's fun and not actually scary. And you're like, okay, I want to do it again. And the more you do that, the faster you get up the learning curve. Another thing that we obviously talked about is I think a lot of people in your position are really lost because of when the pandemic hit in your college experience. And so a big thing that we're creating is that community for you to be surrounded by like-minded people, especially a young guy in New York wanting to make friends, but also wanting to just create a network where that network's super supportive and you guys can share job opportunities and stuff. And I've obviously opened my network up to you, but maybe if you could talk about, because I know you've gotten a lot of the value out of the network and have been really excited about that. So to maybe talk about that piece as well, because that obviously isn't something that you understand from the social media side.
Yeah.
Something you've gotten the front row seat to.
Definitely. Yeah. So it's a great network. Big group chat. Cole's, graciously basically opened all of his doors to his network. It's basically like a group of killers, like the mentality, especially for someone like me, someone who's younger. It's huge because I'm learning from these guys a couple years older than me who absolutely kill it, are more than willing to talk about opportunities, more than willing to also share their own networks, their experiences, and just help you learn in general.
And it only gets better too. That's the power of networks. So I guess to round it out, what would you say to someone who's hesitant about joining the program?
I think it's fair. Like we had talked, it's sometimes a little, oh, should I give this guy money?
Yeah.
It's definitely a fair thought. At the end of the day, things don't come to you. They don't knock on your door. You got to go after it if you want it. Everyone's here to help. I really couldn't recommend it more, especially if you're not exactly where you want to be in life.
Would you say you got value out of the program? Would you be willing and excited to do it again? Would you tell your friends to do it?
I would definitely do it again because if I didn't, I'd probably not be here.
I love it.
And I wouldn't be making all these changes in my life and growing as a person. So I couldn't recommend it more.
I love it, man. It was awesome going through the program with you. It was so fun seeing your evolution.
Of course.
It's great because it starts as like a mentor-mentee relationship. And now we talk all the time. It's like, hey, I haven't heard from you. Like, I'm at the Yellow
Right.
Phone Club, I'm thinking of you. And it's fun because really it's like, it's fun. We both invest in each other, and then it really does become a lifelong relationship. And so much of what we're doing is we want to invest in the next generation, because it's like, you guys have a better pulse on where the world's going next too. And we want you guys all to succeed, and you guys are all going to be running companies and doing some big things. And so the network goes both ways. And so it's awesome to see where your life's at. And I'm so glad we did it. And so glad we're on the ride together now.
100%. Can't agree more.
All right, man. Thanks for the time.